Well, I've got a week here before, I'm going anywhere. So maybe I will do a bit of a video for you guys, because I know you'd all miss me. So, might as well get things ready for this. I give the engine a good spray off here. I'm cover it down with some soap and cleaner. And give her another scrub-a-dub-dub. And flip her over and do the same thing. I'm going to coat the inside of it all good with some oven cleaner. Let that sit for a minute or two, maybe scrub it some, and then spray it off. I won't leave that oven cleaner on very long. But we're going to try to get all the metal shavings and whatnot that were in it out of it. And now it's washed. All washed up. Okay, we've lost some paint in places. We've got a little goo in places that come off a little more scrubbing. Or might not come off at all. And some of that aviation gasket maker stuff really digs in. But we've got it all washed off inside and out. All sprayed down with WD-40. Everything. So we're probably just going to wrap it in plastic. After it drip dries, we may put a little more WD on it. But our ports here for the oil pump. We have these 3 ports here, as you can see. We are going to be going in there with a sanding disc and cleaning them up as much as possible. And doing the same thing with a small wire brush or sanding brush or carbide bit or something in the journals. And we're going to get maximum oil flow. As I say, we'll be shimming the oil pump, which I'll show you later on, so that we get maximum oil pressure. And fellas, apparently I had these things running up around 8,000 RPM and so on, turboed and stuff, and they're not blowing out gaskets. So if they can get 80 pounds oil pressure, if I have 80 pounds oil pressure at 5,000 RPM, I should take up a lot of spaces, hopefully. We'll see. But yeah, well, I'll be getting a little more sanding done and porting and polishing, as it were. And of course, then everything will have to be blown out and washed out again. But for now, hopefully, that got most of the metal out. Water's beading up in there, but she's well coated in WD. I might give her another little squirt. And yeah, we'll just set her aside to wait further work. Our figure seeing is, I've got 24 hours at least into doing this. The rest of you might enjoy 3 or 4 seconds of it. I doubt it. We have switched to an alternative method here now. Instead of sandpaper, we are using a very fine valve grinding compound. Right here, a valve grinding compound. And we smear it all over the journal. And we take our flat shoelace and we back and forth. And we up and down until we're getting it even all over everything. And now, so sandpaper and what grit you should use is a debate like oil. However, my way of thinking and the way of thinking of other people makes logical sense, is that you use valve lapping compound when you seal your valves to your head, set your valves to your head. You lap the valve, and the narrow surface of the valve, metal valve, comes in contact with the valve seat and seals, ideally seals 100%. You don't want any compression blowing by, anything like that. You don't want any of the ignition blowing out the exhaust. You want it sealed. So it seals. Makes a very smooth finish and seals. Well, if it's good enough for that to seal, I think it's probably good enough for the bearings. And this is going to be smooth as that anyway, with what I've got going on here. But it probably won't be. So I have been doing a different journal well, sometimes the same journals. I've been working away at these journals with this flat shoelace and this valve lapping compound. And probably will on and off until the other stuff shows up. And the last thing I'll do will be clean this all off and clean the journals out. I'm debating with drilling the journals bigger in the crankshaft itself, but anybody want to offer up a little advice on that one would be great. Yeah, I'm going to be shimming the oil pump up for higher pressure. I'm going to be porting and polishing the passageways for maximum volume. So, you know, we're going to be getting a higher volume and a higher pressure. And we got to do everything we can to compensate for what we're not getting. So what we're doing is anything I can do myself for free that involves nothing but time, because what I know is worth very little. What I can do is worth even less. So guaranteed it's worth a lot less than a new crankshaft and all that kind of foolishness. But yeah, if anybody wants to chime in on drilling out the ports in the crankshaft, oversized, and in the journals of the block, yeah, pitch right in there. Let me know what you think. But I figured you guys would enjoy watching this. I've enjoyed it. Let me tell you, it's been, I get 36 or 48 hours of this in. I may just do this permanently. It has been so much fun and so stimulating. Well, there's the head, and cam, and valves all back together. And I think we'll wait till we get her mounted on the block before we put the intake manifold and fuel pump on, but same difference. She's ready to go. We cleaned her up more or less, and we're going to hope for the best. And what could possibly go wrong? As you can see, the old shop is not very clean. Spent a lot of time this winter cleaning and re-cleaning it, and so on and so forth. Right back to square one, so I'm not even really trying that hard to keep it clean. You know, the parts were probably cleaner too when I put everything together last time, but this time it's the redneck hillbilly devil may care attitude. And be like my father. My father always was of the opinion that physics and codes and so on and so forth didn't apply to him. He needed a rafter every so many feet. Well, that didn't matter because couldn't afford those rafters, so we put one rafter every other spot. And of course, stuff ended up crashing down on him, but that's all right. This crashed down on me when I was doing it right. So if it's going to crash down on me, might as well crash down on me when I'm doing it wrong. Well, we'll figure it out. And, I expect it to leak compression in all directions, oil pissing out of everywhere, fuel leaking, and occasionally catching on fire. But that's better than what I got now. So we'll see. No promises. It could be quite a show. This is how not to ride a bike with Dan. But yeah, we'll throw this in here just to show it's not all, woe over a Challenger that's not worth any woe. There's also bike riding with Biker Beagle and Big Dog. Big Dog is that, stoic disinterest that this is beneath me. Come, someone, ride this chariot now. Little dog, of course, looking very judgmental. The test pilot here, getting ready to test pilot. This paint job she did herself. First time ever painting anything. Painted it with a spray can and some fishnet spiderweb style lace. And yeah, she painted this all herself. And Biker Beagle is rather judgmental of that. He said, it was actually his inspiration, but these things happen. Say hi, Biker Beagle. Right. Okay. And Big Dog is just really put out by the idea that she has to wait. You can't keep your paw there because that's where my backrest is. See, like that. No, your paw. You're gonna have to work on this. She's ridden on bikes many times before, but made a little adjustment, moved the trunk back on this, so now she thinks she can sit facing forward instead of sideways, and she's really milking it. But yeah, just a trip up through northern Saskatchewan. Left yesterday afternoon. Be back home today, but it was hot. Need to get away from that Challenger, so decided to do this. Okay, we're back with Oil Pumps with Dan. No, just kidding. But we are going to talk about oil pumps here for a minute. Hope everybody enjoyed the clips of the ride there yesterday. I know it's got nothing to do with Dodge Challengers and Mitsubishis, but you know, you gotta get out and blow the dust off once in a while. And the dogs really enjoyed it. Besides which, it's lightly raining this morning, so wouldn't have been able to go anywhere today. Test pilot's back at work, so let's get on with it. This is the old oil pump over here. You know, the case, backing plate. You'll notice a little bit of scoring there, nothing serious. Here's a new one. Case, backing plate, and yeah, a lot more scoring there, of course. Inside the case, there is a little bit. Nothing in this case. A little bit in this one. I have noticed a couple of differences. This one seems to have a slight bypass built into it there, as well as a couple of notches down here. This one does not seem to have that. Also, the big difference is, note the width of the gears compared to the width of the gears from the new oil pump, or the one that had the defective bolt in it. Wider, which indicates to me, unless my knowledge of physics is completely backwards, that this oil pump was designed to pump more oil. Bigger gears, wider gears, push through more oil. Which makes pretty much common sense to me. The backing plates are the same. This backing plate having less scoring will be going on this case. The lack of these bypasses here and whatnot, I'm not exactly sure what to say about those. Don't know. Really don't. But I'm all about getting more oil where I want it to go. So I'm going to put this one back together with the old backing plate and the gears from it and the bolt. Notice the lock washer, not the bolt without the lock washer. So we'll show you that here in a minute, and then we'll show you what we're doing to shim the relief valve so that we get a bit more pressure out of it as well. We want more oil flow, a higher flow, more gallons per minute or liters per hour, or however much this thing pumps out. We want more of it, and we want higher pressure as well, which is going to compensate for a lot of things, we hope. Okay, we've mounted the camera at a precarious angle. Managed to keep from getting my face in the picture, so that's good. And we'll show you what we're doing with the oil pump. First of all, right here is your pressure relief valve location. I have a plunger in here. What happens, oil comes in here when the pressure gets too much. This passageway right here, there's a hole in the back of that passageway. I don't know if you can quite see it, but it goes into this cylinder, and that pushes this piston forward for oil to escape out of this hole here. This piston is held in place with this spring, this cap. What we will be doing is putting one of these washers in the piston, then the spring, then one of these washers in the cap, increasing the tension on the spring, giving us higher oil pressure. So to begin with, we've got assembly lube. Can you imagine? I have things laid out on a white piece of corrugated plastic here. I'm using assembly lube, not just some goo I found at the bottom of my shoe. And they're really pulling out all the stops here. I'm trying to pull out all the stops so I can get the assembly lube to come out. Maybe. Not being real cooperative. There's no little gob. Okay, that's more than enough, I'm sure. Now we will drop this little piece in, and we're going to push it in and take it back out 2 or 3 times just to make sure that we get it right here. I have it lubricated up well so it's not stuck particularly. We can get at that hole in the back here and push it forward. And push her back. And actually, if you look, you can see the hole right here where the oil released from. We push it forward past that, and then we come in this end and Of course, get my hands in the way of everything. Push it back. Okay, I'm going to push her out here another time. And I think, just for safety's sake, we're going to put both washers on one end. So we'll push that back in, all the way down there, where it's supposed to be. We will take the spring, drop that down the hole here, and there's some tension on that. Now these washers, which I did not check previously, but I'm going to check now, are big enough diameter that they will not fall down into the spring. So we're going to set it down for a second. Take these two washers right here. You notice there's a hole in that for oil to escape by. So you got to have washers, not just a solid disc. Put both the washers down in there like that. Put this on end. Spring down into that piece. Get it started in there, which now takes a little bit more pressure with my fingers, which is good. Want more pressure. I'll tighten her back up. Like so. Try to, like so. I'm going to have to put this in the vise afterwards to tighten this down. Can't do that right now because guess what? You're all in the vise. That's where you're live from Dan's Shop Vise. Given to him by a friend where I used to live named Chris Smith. Been given to him by his father. It doesn't have any jaws, or well, they're sort of welded in there. And the handle's slightly bent, and it's been mounted on a dozen different shelves since I've had it. But it's a good vise, and obviously good for a variety of things. So now, I'll take some more assembly lube here. Come out the tube there, she's flowing everywhere. We'll put it in around where the gears are going to be. And we're going to fill it right up with assembly lube afterwards to prime it. Now, this one goes in the top. So we're going to get some assembly lube all gooey on it there. And we will attempt to push it through. There we go, she's going in. Bingo. Or other people's names, and so on. Now this one, get some assembly lube. Might have to put a little more assembly lube on things here. Always good to have assembly lube. Like so. Now there's a dot on the oil pump here, as you can see right there. I presume you can see. Trust me, there is one. Corresponding dot on this one. How good the lighting is, or if you can see it or not. But anyways, there are two dots. Trust me on that. We're going to line up those two dots. Try to, anyways. And she not always the easiest here to cooperate with, but take one out, one in, bang it a few times with my hand. Might go together, might not. There she goes. She's going now. Closer. Don't want to hit it anything metallic, really, because, well, but I have a rubber hammer. Very important that you keep your shop well organized and clean and all that kind of stuff. As you can see, my shop is just like an operating room with everything laid out in specific order. There we go. Are in there, lined up. Turn nice and freely. We'll give them a spin here. Oh yeah, just wonderful. So now, you can see this sucks up the oil and so on and so forth. We're going to fill that right up with assembly lube. Some fellas talk about Vaseline and whatnot. You know what? Vaseline is not oil, or not exactly oil. Doesn't necessarily melt at the same temperatures. So I just don't want Vaseline floating around inside my engine if not necessary. Okay. Now we got one dowel pin in. The other dowel pin goes in up here, so we're gonna put it in up here once we get the right end in there. There we go. And using the old backing plate because it doesn't have as much scoring on it, although it looks identical to the other one, so we shouldn't have any problems there. Line up these dowel pins and now tap this unit together. Try to. Oh, look at that. Splatters of assembly lube in all directions. Good. Lots of assembly lube. I'm not going to complain about having too much assembly lube. Okay, I might complain about not having enough paper towels. But now, we flip it back over. We take our bolt, the one with the lock washer, which goes right in here. It's just there as near as I can tell to keep the pump from falling apart until you get all the other bolts in it, because it gets a bolt there, 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 and there. Possibly even down here. I can't remember now. Now we need our Phillips screwdriver, which we have placed somewhere else, because keeping all our tools organized, it all can't be in the same place. It's right here. Not that far away. We'll tighten this up snugly. Check and make sure that it's sealed all the way around, which it appears to be. Now, some other things to do. This comes with your kit for eliminating the balance shafts, because originally a balance shaft would have run through this shaft right here. And that shaft turns, spins, all that kind of stuff. Put this through from the back, which then allows you to put a bolt through into it, which is basically there just to keep everything snug and level, and it gives you a place in the vise to clamp when you put this sprocket on. Now the thing is, you might ask, why do I have the chain on the sprocket already? Well, you'll see here in a minute. Now, to put this on, you take this tiny little Woodruff key. I don't know if you can see really here. Try to turn it, but there is a channel right here for a Woodruff key. It's very small, prone to fall out and jump around and get lost. So, and you take the sprocket with its corresponding spline, line that up with the Woodruff key, and attempt to slide it on. I say attempt because sometimes it can drive you right to complete and utter distraction. Now, I cannot remember if I have this on there the right way or not. I think, actually, if I slide it back off of here, there are people that question me saying I think. If I turn it over this way, there may be a dot on it for when it had to be aligned. When you normally install these, there's this, and then there is a sprocket on the crankshaft and a sprocket on the opposing balance shaft, and they have to be timed. So what I'm going to do is, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go over here to where I have another one of those sprockets. And yes, you can quite clearly see a dot. Now, using my great powers of power, I'm going to assume they will put the dot on the side that you could see. So, put the chain on the sprocket, line the whole thing up here carefully and with great precision, like that. Knock it home. Maybe not knock it home. Well, does not seem to want to go home right at the moment. Well, that could be a result of the Woodruff key or what have you. So we'll pull her back off. Yeah, Woodruff key is turned up a little bit. Gotta turn it down a little more. There we go. We'll try again here. Doesn't work this time. I may turn the video off, just finished up. Because, you know, try to keep the cursing down to a minimum, I'm told. So now I'm questioning if our sprocket is on all the way. Because it seems it should go further than that. So I'm going to try here. I know I said one more time ago. But those of you familiar with how I work probably will expect this about 10 more times. Well, we'll see here. Alright. Well, it bound determined to fall out of there on me. And I don't really appreciate that. So, bear with me here. We will accomplish something. And just like that, it's magically together. Magically delicious or something. Magically just about drove me insane. But I did get it back together. That woodruff key, one of those half moon type woodruff keys. And you're sliding, look at this, and you can see you're sliding it on like that. So you can't really see the woodruff key by the time you come in contact with it. Then it wants to pop up inside here, which you can't get at to push back down. Just, if you've dealt with woodruff keys before, I'm sure you feel my pain. If you haven't dealt with them before, I envy you. I hate you. I envy you so bad I hate you. How's that? Yeah. Oh, what a terrible, terrible means of fastening things together. But it's what they have decided to use for many, many, many decades, into centuries now. So I guess we have to live with them. That's my rant on woodruff keys. Those of you who know me know there could be more rants upcoming at any moment. But this is together. I told you you had to put the chain on. That's because you can't get the chain on after the sprocket's on. This shaft coming is in the way, so on and so forth. Just won't work. So you have to put the chain on, or you get it all together and then go, oh, darn, and take it all apart again. And then the bigger sprocket goes in here, of course, which goes on the crank. And so the whole thing has to be slid on. This sprocket, of course, has to slide over a straight woodruff key, while having these two locating dowels swung over here so you can see what I'm talking about. These two locator pins here going into place on the block. So you're sliding all that in, sliding it all in at once while holding this in one hand and this other sprocket in the other hand and getting it lined up for the woodruff key. And you don't notice when bolts extend past where they're supposed to, which this one does not. So we're going to take the gasket, which is still in good shape actually, and we're going to put it on. And we'll make sure it's on the right way. Yeah, like that. Those two locating dowels. We've got the oil pump completely full of assembly lube. Probably wasted most of my assembly lube on that, so that's fortunate. But as you can see, the gasket fits around this one nicely. And these two, everything should be sealed up quite nicely. Of course, get it back here where it's see, but I was saying it seals up around these. These are the 3 ports. This one, this one, this one. And it seals up around them nicely. I should say 4 ports over here as well. So that's all done. Of course, can't put it on the motor till the crankshaft's in. Be the first thing I do after the bearings show up will be to put the crankshaft in and mount this thing. And then, yeah, pistons, connecting rods, and sump, and oil pan, and give the whole thing a spin and see how she's doing for pumping oil. Because we're going to want everything primed well. It is raining outside. The engine is out, the block is outside. It's all sprayed down WD-40 and covered in a garbage bag and covered off and whatnot on the engine stand there, so it's not getting wet. But I don't think I'll be polishing the oil ports today on that. I do plan on polishing them with the Dremel there and a sanding wheel or sanding flapper disc. But we did get the oil pump taken care of, so we're going to take it magically. You can see I even had a puller out at one point. It was a grand time. You guys missed a lot of excitement. Keep all the real exciting stuff and secret stuff to myself. And I have to remember, just setting it up here, I have not tightened up the pressure relief valve cap yet. So I'm going to do that before I set it up there. All right, hopefully we'll get a little bit of port and polish in on the oil passages, and then that'll probably be the end of the video. We're finishing up tomorrow, and this is Sunday, so I'll be posting it tomorrow afternoon or evening. So to finish up what I'm doing here, we've measured everything. I actually have a micrometer. I've measured things, and the ports are the exact same size here as they are on the oil pump. So there's not really any sense in, you know, boring them out or anything like that. They're, you know, these ports are as big as they are in a 383 Dodge. Plenty of oil passageway through there, and you know, machined out holes. Well, you can see if I can turn on the flash there, but well, that's a drilled hole. Where's the oil passage? You could sort of see there, maybe, not really, I guess, but they're machined holes. I mean, they're not just cast holes. They seem to be very yeah, very secure. So we're just going to make sure that they're all cleaned out well. That's what we're doing with the pipe cleaners here, is we're sticking them in the oil journals and then grabbing them with our little pinchy tool here through the oil passageway here and pulling them out. I'll see if I can get one to cooperate while the camera's on. That would be a rare situation, but you never know. I'm going to try to get oil all over everything while I do that too. And, I find it always helps if you get as much oil as possible. And we'll go back to that setting. I like the in and out there, a 3D effect. But I find it's always good to get as much oil as possible on your phone. Helps with the you know, lubrication of the picture, because everybody likes picture lubrication. Okay, well, let's pull this one out. We'll see if we can get that one. That one's the third one in. You may or may not be able to get it. So we'll move along until we see it grab. You know, it doesn't seem to want to go. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But all the oil passageways are open. That's the long and the short of it. I could sit here and go 12 minutes if you guys watch me play the claw machine, but I don't think you'd enjoy that. It's a long video anyways. Most of you have probably gone to sleep by now. Definitely switched over to something else. But so I have all the oil journals cleaned out. We are waiting for the main bearings, and then the crank will be going in. So probably get a little more time polishing that maybe tonight and tomorrow. Not sure, then we should be off on that adventure trip, which probably will go nothing like we planned, but will still be a lot of fun no matter what. We got a little bit of cleaning to do on here, of course, before we put the oil pan back on. But that's where we'll be. So the next video should be a road trip with meeting up with some people, and hopefully meeting up with Merle from Prairie Wings Performance, as I'll include his channel in the description. And yeah, with him in the video, there might actually be something worthwhile watching. All right, thank you all once again. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all those other things to say. Once again, big shout out to the sponsors.